Class is in session. Sipping on some kung fu milk tea. Mm. Brought to you by the new Faro's Lounge Kickstarter. We're currently at 18,000, 2,000 below the number I need to stay in my current lifestyle. We are 4 pages away from finishing chapter 1 of our graphic novel. Pages 1 and 2 is us. We've introduced Peter Parker. We introduced his guardian, Ben Parker, the former fighter pilot, retired veteran, widow. In page 2, Peter is bitten by the spider. His parents are working on specimens to rebuild the super soldier serum. The spider is the only one taking to the serum. It bites young 8-year-old Peter. He gets a fever. He wakes up. His parents take him ice skating. He nearly fucking cripples himself when his powers start getting a little loose on him. The parents leave. They are accosted by the chameleon, who kills his parents, even tries to kill Peter, but Peter fights back, and the chameleon escapes into the crowd. Years later, Peter is 16. He's lonely. He's in high school. Some kids try to bully him. He fights back and nearly cripples one, puts one in the hospital. His uncle tells him to go lay low for a little while, get out of town, go see the world, go find yourself. Peter, of course, becomes a photographer traveling the world, finding passion, ends up working on a farm and a salvage crew. They find some ruins of Atlantis. They are attacked by pirates. Peter, of course, helps fight back, but in the ensuing attack, when they try to take the hostages away, he sets off explosives. Both ships explode. Everyone's killed but Peter. He washes up along the shore of the savage land. Craven becomes his mentor, teaches him a little bit about himself, and then eventually tries to use him as Craven is aging and his serums are no longer working. Peter, of course, starts to develop his wiseassery and stalls Craven as his powers kick back in, escaping his bounds and bondage. Craven and Peter fight along the savage land, but Peter gets the best of him, and in the end, Craven dies, and he gets the name of his parents' killer from the dying Craven, where he heads back to Empire City and Uncle Ben to start a new life as an Avenger and get the vengeance for the murder of his parents. He recruits Ben to help him, and as they are having their reunion, the lights all above Empire City are taken over by the leader of what's called the Sinister Six, who basically hold the city for ransom. And they want $10 billion, or they're going to sabotage the Mars colony. The big event coming up in Empire City featuring the Fantastic Four astronauts that are going to go apart and be part of the new Mars colony. Instead of just introducing the villain slow, we decided to jump right the fuck into it. Dr. Octopussy having a threat against the city with a nice, long, beautiful monologue saying the city is greedy. We are merely going to do a business proposition and shake you down. If you do not answer our ransom, we're going to blow up that fucking Mars colony, and your greatest triumph will end in utter disaster. Peter, of course, looks at Ben and says, all right, man, you and I got to do some shit. So they go and they dust off everything at the parents' old lab that's been left alone for many, many years. They start going over some schematics. They prepare the web shooters, start building web shooters, and start putting together the idea for the outfit, the spider suit. And then Peter is hanging upside down, leaps off from his perch of his bedroom. Then Uncle Ben leaves him his own place, a rooftop apartment overlooking the city where he can perch down and be the spider. He leaps down here now when we left off at pages 19 and 20. Ben, of course, is vowed to have his back be his Alfred. And when we left things, we see Peter looking off as he's swinging around the city into the moon like Batman. He looks across and he sees the enforcers, Fancy Dan, Montana, and Ox, who were appeared in these earlier issues as the higher, basically thugs for hire. We have 4 pages left in this particular chapter. By the end of these 4 pages, we'll do 2 pages now, and we'll have one more class to do the last pages. One class, either at the end of that class, we'll talk about the budget and everything we put together so far. And eventually, we'll get to the next chapter. Our goal is to write a 100-page graphic novel told in 4 parts, 96 pages. Right? 96 pages, 96 or 98? 96, I'm sorry. 96 pages with 4 covers and alternate covers, which counts as like 100 pages because reading itself is where we get our cover commissions from, which we did. So today, we will read Amazing Spider-Man 21 and write page 21, Amazing Spider-Man 22 and write page 22. By the end, you will all understand. All right, page 21. We now enter the Enforcers. So now what we have to do here on page 21 is Spider-Man's got to leap into action, fuck up the Enforcers, and start making his way through the gauntlet to get his way to the Sinister Six. Right now we have the Enforcers are the placeholders. They don't have to be if we come up with something better. So let's take a look at Amazing Spider-Man number 21 and see if inspiration shall strike us. We read a comic book, we try to pull out 6 panels and 6 dialogues. As I drink my Kung Fu milk tea, pump a little cannabis oil into the mind and body. Where Flies the Beetle? Guest starring The Human Torch, another mighty milestone in the Marvel Age of comics. Let's do this shit. All right, the Beetle. Obviously, we're probably going to be looking into some Human Torch side outs here because the Beetle has mostly been a Human Torch villain. And as you can see, they were trying to give the rub to the Human Torch, try and make him as popular as Spider-Man, maybe give him a little spin-off action from the Fantastic Four. They gave him back his fucking costume. This is the moment I've dreamed of all these months. Once again, I'll don my Beetle outfit and get my revenge against the Human Torch. So again, we see another side out to Strange Tales 123. We'll take a look. If they make a reference, what the hell, right? What the hell? All right, Dory Evans. Now we have featured Dory Evans on a cover. That's how old school I am. The American Safari Delaware cover features a new Dory Evans and Jean Grey as roommates at Metro University, having a naughty, mature pillow fight. All right, so Dory's pissed off because he's gonna go flame on and fuck with the Beetle. Peter's just fucking hanging out. He's like, look, you know what? I gotta swing around the city. I'm getting a little restless here. We got some thugs. And we need some thug action here because we can't just say, okay, the enforcer's just standing around. What are the enforcers doing on page 21 that Peter's gonna get involved in here? It's a big night for superheroes tonight. There's the Human Torch flying around as if he had sense. Torch is fucking around, doing a couple of loop-de-loops. Peter doesn't like the Torch. The Beetle is hiding out with his little suction cup fingers. His fucking purple and green suit here. Still no sign of the Beetle. All right, so Torch is looking around the city. Beetle's hiding out. Spider-Man's fucking right behind him on a sign here. Dory Evans is pissed off that you left her. You know, eventually we can do a little. Eventually, if this cover that I do, this Liz Allen, Mary Jane Watson, and Betty Brant strip poker cover works out, we'll definitely have to do a Fantastic Four version with Dory Evans. She was one of the first girls in this, one of the first pinup girls. And Dory Evans, it's a hot name. She essentially gets mad at him. Says, "Look, you turn into the Human Torch again, I'm gonna dump your ass. Obviously, the sex is good." Said, "It's the deal of my life, but what do they feed you when you were a baby? Nails?" It's a good line. All right, the Beetle is stalking. Says, "All right, he's dating Dory Evans." Spider-Man comes down. Can I lend you guys a hand? All right, so we can just have Spider-Man jumping in on a good old-fashioned fucking truck heist. We got 4 pages left in this graphic novel. By the end of these 4 pages, we need him holding a motherfucker by his throat going, I'm Spider-Man. As for Spider-Man, he continues on his way home, growing more miserable every minute. Can I lend you guys a hand? Spider-Man, stay away. Sam, call the cops, quick. That says, I couldn't win a popular contest if I was the only one entered. Nuts. Dory Evans is shopping. A bunch of people blow past her. Peter picks up her fucking packages. She says, hey. He finds her wallet and doesn't even steal her money. Well, at least come in and let me fix you a glass of Coke. Oh, so he gets a little glass of Coke here. All right. So now Torch is pissed off in his little fucking convertible here. He's like, what the fuck's going on here? You hanging out with that jerk off? He doesn't know that Peter Parker, of course, is Spider-Man. Dory's using Torch to get jealous. No three-way going on here. They literally just show the fucking Beetle just flicking a fucking cigarette away. I always like that. He's watching all this shit going down. Peter Parker. All of a sudden, Torch gets up in his face. Well, I'll be a spider web string bean. Old Hothead is actually jealous of me. I hope you're not dumb enough to think you could beat my time. And of course, stupid, annoying Betty fucking Brandt hears this. Hey guys, look, isn't that the Human Torch talking to puny Parker? Might as well be like, oh, there you go. Betty, wait, she's sobbing. Betty's a pain in the ass. She's fucking jealous of everything. You brainless, swell-headed, loudmouth jerk. Who do you think you are shooting your yap off? All right, so Peter don't fuck around. You may be a big, brave superhero, everyone else, but to me, you're just a knuckleheaded pain in the ass. Get the message? This I didn't expect. I can't even take a poke at him. Wouldn't be fair. He wouldn't have a chance. How about that, Flash? I never heard Parker had such guts. Maybe he's not really a panty waste. Stow it. Don't let him fool you. He knows Torch wouldn't dare fight with him. A superpowered member of the Fantastic Four can't go around beating up nobodies. Well, fellas, I'll prove it. It's safe to needle the Torch. Why don't you take a lesson from Spider-Man, Torchy? He wouldn't let anyone talk to him like that. So now Torch is annoyed. Betty Brant's being possessive and fucking annoying. So now nobody wants Peter. He can't get laid because Betty's a cunt and fucking Dory Evans is being a fucking cock tease. So now he's pissed off. He's like, I'm gonna fuck shit up. And unfortunately, right as he's about to fuck shit up and go bang out with fucking Dory Evans, the Beetle's around in that stupid costume, beating the living shit out of Peter. Peter catches himself, turns it around, flips the fucking guy over, puts the fucking webs on his foot, pulls the feet down over. This guy has no cinch to beat that armor he's wearing. Must be 2 inches thick. So Peter and the Beetle battle. Now we can throw the Beetle in here. There's no problem throwing the Beetle here. We need a villain for Spider-Man to beat the shit out of. We need the same way when any wrestler comes into the World Wrestling Federation, he doesn't go right to the champion. He's got to beat up he's got to beat up some squash matches. We leapt right into a threat on the city. Peter is back in Empire City for 5 minutes before fucking the lights go up and there's a threat made and the Sinister Six is introducing themselves. So now Dory's like, come on here and fight. Torch is like, I know you just fucking with me, sweetheart. And Dory's like, shit, I'm fucked. I told this guy not to be the Torch. So now Spider-Man and the Beetle are fighting some more. They fight and they break into the fucking house here. Fighting all over the fucking house. Torch is like, let me get over there and get some shit going down. Beetle's got these stupid little suction cup hands. He's just fucking shit up. He flies away with Dory Evans. Torch has got to pursue. He thinks Spider-Man's fucking around. He's throwing fucking balls at him. He's throwing fucking bolo webs at him. Fucking ping pong fucking paddles and the webs. Everybody's smacking the shit out of each other. Don't get too close, Torchy boy. Smacks him upside the head. Little fucking pirouettes with the fucking flames. Meanwhile, the Beetle's getting away. He's feeling up Dory Evans in a cute little fucking sweater. Brant and Parker are here. Fucking J. Jonah Jameson. She's got a pin up of Peter. She's all pissed off. He says he's off with some fucking chick. So Betty, of course, is going to sob and sob and sob. She really was annoying. I didn't want to fucking Betty. He should have been fucking Dory Evans here instead. Of course, the Beetle sucks off a piece of the wall, tosses it at the Torch. Torch and Peter are forced to team up again. Little fucking three-way action here. Everything's going down, climbing up walls, melting through fucking walls. Everybody's pissed off, punches him in the face at the same time, crack his fucking head open in a fucking flaming torch, a flaming cage. Spider-Man, of course, is pissed off because even with all the shit and all the hard work he did, Torch got the girl. He didn't get shit. He's like, I don't know what to do, man. He just wants to kind of be off on his own. And again, what made Spider-Man popular was there were many times where he did not get the happy ending. If you enjoyed Pete and his pals as much as we hoped you did, tune in again next issue for lots more of the same. Happy web spinning. We get the men up to pass the work. We get, of course, the Spider's web, the tales for next issue. Fantastic Four up to number 35. You get the layout of how you got to catch up to the Marvel Universe, which I intend to do. Now, again, they're up to Strange Tales 129. We had a reference here to Strange Tales 123. So you see how it's all connected. Sergeant Fury at number 14, Astonish at 64. So the idea is, once you're done with this graphic novel, you go on a little fucking reading break. You have a little fun. You catch up to all these titles and these numbers. And this way you're all caught up in the Marvel Universe. All right. So we are now up to Amazing Spider-Man 22. Spider-Man fighting it out with the Clown and the Master of Menaces. We saw them once before in Amazing Spider-Man 16, where the Ringmaster was trying to get all those people hypnotized at the circus, and he made Spider-Man fight Daredevil. But we have, right here, what I'm thinking is we can have a really cool, fun fucking battle scene here. right? What do we have? We had Spider-Man on page 20. He was doing what? Close-up shot of the lightning flash over Spider-Man's head as the spider sense begins to go off like crazy, alerting him to danger below. He sees below him with his enhanced vision the silhouette of three figures, which were revealed to be the enforcers, Fancy Dan, Montana, and Ox. Caption across the bottom of the panel reads, and now, enter the enforcers. All right. We cut down to the inside of a what? What are the enforcers stealing? We cut down to the inside of a vault of shiny gems. We cut down to the inside of a vault of shiny gems, where we see security guards knocked out and tied up. We cut down to the inside of a vault of shiny gems, where we see the security guards knocked out and tied up. Okay. We cut down to the inside of a vault of shiny gems, where we see security guards knocked out and tied up. Cut down to the inside of a vault of shiny gems, where we see security guards knocked out and tied up. Now, again, you could do a random thug, random jewelry heist, but I feel like we have seen that done about a billion times. We're trying to do some cool, different shit here, but not rush. We're not in a rush. So what do we have here? 21 and 22. I mean, all four of these pages could just be a fucking battle scene. I'll drink our Kung Fu milk tea. Cut down to the inside of a vault of shining gems, where we see security guards knocked out and tied up. Center of the carnage, we see Ox, a strong man. We see Ox. We see the enforcers. We see the enforcers standing proudly, standing and staring proudly at their bounty. Ox, the man-child looking strong man, looking muscle. Montana, the lasso wielding cowboy. Fancy Dan, the leader of the group, tiny but deadly. Tiny but deadly master martial artist. All right. We cut down to the inside of a vault of shiny gems, where we see the security guards knocked out and tied up. The center of the carnage, we see the enforcers standing and staring proudly at their bounty. Ox, the man-child looking muscle. Montana, the lasso-wielding cowboy. Fancy Dan, the leader of the group. Tiny but deadly master martial artist. Again, we'll be introducing them with their exposition box here. Enter the enforcers. All right. right, so basically Spider-Man will, go back to there. All right. Here. Ox, the man-child of the group, the man-child of the trio. Montana, the lasso-wielding cowboy, caballero. Montana, the lasso-wielding caballero. Fancy Dan, the leader of the group. Tiny but deadly. Master of the martial arts. Ox, the man-child of the trio. Montana, the lasso-wielding caballero. Lasso-wielding cowboy. I like caballero. The lasso-wielding caballero. Fancy Dan, the leader of the group. Tiny but deadly. Master of the martial arts. So you get a good pose for that first page. Just finishing my milk tea. Master of the martial arts. All right, so we brought in the enforcers. They're standing around at their bounty. As they exit the vault, someone cuts the lights. SFX of the lights going dark. Fancy Dan. Keep your eyes peeled, boys. We've got a visitor. I don't suppose you'll reveal yourself. Make it all easier for us kids. Keep your eyes peeled, boys. We've got a visitor. I don't suppose you'll reveal yourself. Make it all easier for us kids. And of course, Spider-Man's got to answer. Make it easier for us kids. Make it easier. Make it all easier for us kids. Keep your eyes peeled, boys. We've got a visitor. I don't suppose you reveal yourself. Make it all easier for us kids. Peter. I don't suppose you put the jewels back. I don't suppose you put the gems back. All right, so Fancy Dan says, I don't suppose you reveal yourself. Make it all easier for us kids. Peter, I need a good answer here. I need Peter to answer him back a little wise ass answer. I don't suppose you put the gems back. Perhaps to take a train. Perhaps take a train. Perhaps take a train and go find yourself. Keep your eyes peeled, boys. We've got a visitor. I don't suppose you'll reveal yourself. Make it all easier for us kids. I don't suppose you'll put the gems back. Perhaps take a train and go find yourself. I don't suppose you'll put the gems back. Perhaps take a train and go find yourself. Clad in his suit, but hidden by the darkness, Peter leaps at his attackers. Peter leaps at the enforcers, sending them in all directions. Clad in his suit but hidden by the darkness, Peter leaps at the enforcers, sending them in all directions. Directions of evasive maneuvers. Clad in his suit but hidden by the darkness, Peter leaps at the enforcers, sending them in all directions of evasive maneuvers. First, Peter first faces off with the ox, who tries to catch him from behind with a vicious bear hug. Crouching down with the ox on top of him, Peter pretends to give up while pressing his hands down against the ground. I like this. With a massive push off the ground, Peter drives himself and the ox up with great force into the ceiling, making it smash open and taking out ox in the process. SFX of the ceiling smashing and ox being crushed by the ceiling debris. So the idea is that Ox comes behind him first, gets him in a bear hug. Peter's gonna fuck around and go, please, please, I'm sorry, I give. Like he's gonna fuck with the guy. He's gonna press down to the ground. And while Ox is still on top of him, Peter's gonna push his hands down, like do one of those like cool Superman push, and whoosh and push and smash Ox into the fucking into the building, into the ceiling. Ox, of course, will come crashing down. And then the next two page, next in 22, 23, 24, he's got to fight Fancy Dan. He's got to fight Montana. I like that. All right, so now we got to write the dialogue. Clad in his suit but hidden by the darkness, Peter leaps at the enforcers, sending them all directions of evasive maneuvers. I don't suppose you'll put the gems back. Perhaps take a train and go find yourself. Oh well. Oh well. Let's just beat the crap out of each other. Out of each other instead. Oh well. Let's just beat the crap out of each other instead. Ooch! Peter leaps at him. Peter first faces off with the ox, who tries to catch him from behind with a vicious bear hug. Fancy Dan. Grab him, ox. Sorry to end your night, kid. Peter first faces off with the ox, who tries to catch him from behind with a vicious bear hug. While Fancy Dan taunts him. Sorry to end your night, kid, but you're a pancake. Sorry to end your night, kid, but you're a pancake. Peter first faces off with the ox, who tries to catch him, who doesn't try, who catches him. Who catches him. Who catches him from behind with a vicious bear hug, while Fancy Dan taunts him. Sorry to end your night, kid. Sorry to end your night early, kid, but you're a pancake. Sorry to end your night early, kid, but you're a pancake. He's gonna squish him. I don't know, but you're a pancake. Sorry to end your night early, kid, but you're a pancake. I kind of like it. Ox is gonna flatten him out. Yeah, he's gonna flatten him out like a fucking pancake, but you're a pancake. Boom. Should Peter give a little wise ass answer before we? Sorry to end your night early, kid, but you're a pancake. Peter first faces off with the ox, who catches him from behind with a vicious bear hug, while Fancy Dan taunts him. Sorry to end your night early, kid, but you're a pancake. Go over here. Let's get it down here. Crouching down with the ox on top of him, Peter pretends to give up while pressing his hands down against the ground. Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God, you're right, sir. I'm in way over my head. Do over. Do over. Do over. On second thought. Oh my God, you're right, sir. I'm in way over my head. Do over. Do over. On second thought, with a massive push off the ground, Peter drives himself and the ox up with great force into the ceiling, making it smash open and taking out Ox in the process. S effects of the debris smashing and Ox being crushed by the ceiling. Push, 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 LaRouche. No, 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 no. Pick, pick, pick. All right, what do we got? With a massive push off the ground, Peter drives himself and the ox up with great force into the ceiling, making it smash open and taking out Ox in the process. That's the line right there. On second thought, you can even write here, using the proportion strength of a spider. With a massive push off the ground, Peter drives himself and the ox up with great force into the ceiling, making it smash open and taking out Ox in the process. Again, that's your narrative box. On second thought, he said, "You're a pancake." And Peter can turn around and say, "Oh, underline." On second thought, you're toast. Says you're a pancake. On second thought, you're toast. Do over, do over. On second thought, boom, like he jumps up like a toaster. You're toast. I like that. I didn't even plan that shit out, okay? That's how fucking slick I am. Wasn't even planning that shit out. I finished my kung fu too. Wasn't even planning that shit out. Smashes him up like a fucking toaster. One thing he says, you're a pancake, and he says, you're toast. Bang! On to page 22. Spider-Man versus the Clown and the Master of Madness. So now Spider-Man is taking out the Ox. And again, we got more thugs here. Now again, you can use the Enforcers, or we can use these fucking clown princes of crime. Again, you see how it all kind of lines up? Page 22 is him fighting some thugs. We could easily have him fighting these guys. So again, with what kind of script you're writing, you can throw the Enforcers in here to be the first fucking people he beats the shit out of. Or you can use the Clowns and the Master of Menace. Remember, the choice is yours. The crafty clown, the great Gambonos, the man called Cannonball, Princess Python. Sounds like a hell of a... again, if you were doing more cool, old school retro Spider-Man strip pokers, you could easily do... You had Dory Evans here, right? Think about it. If this strip poker fucking piece, if I sell the original art for it, we're going to have to do another one. With Dory Evans, Princess Python, and eventually I think Gwen Stacy's coming up soon here. Gwen Stacy's making her way into the comic books. But we actually see Gwen Stacy before we see Mary Jane Watson. But Mary Jane appears before Gwen Stacy in terms of chronology was mentioned earlier. So it works out. Plus, Liz Allen didn't go to school with Gwen Stacy, and neither did Betty Brant. So fuck off. But we got 3 new women. Again, we can have another strip poker piece for the second chapter in our AracKnight series. That's why we keep our commissions written down here. Dory Evans, Princess Python, Gwen Stacy, dogs and cats living together. Total chaos. In a sleazy hotel room in a shabby hotel, some sneaky sinners are startled by the sight of a sparkling spider signal. So again, we're going to put our narrative boxes as script. So you see, as we're writing our narrative boxes, we box them up and we tell the letterer, put that in the corner, put that on top. We dress up our panels with dialogue and, of course, narrative boxes because, again, we're writing a novel. See what I'm saying, kids? All right. Spider-Man comes in. He says, look, you motherfucker, I know you fuck with the Hulk. You fuck with some people. You're the stupid little ringmaster. You're a bitch and an asshole. Remember last time you fucking creepy circus? I'm going to take this hat. I'm going to crack your fucking hat in half. I'm going to crack your fucking head open. You're a jerk off. Put his gizmo on him. He doesn't trust him. Now everybody just saw Spider-Man dress down this guy. So they all said, dude, you're a bitch. Nobody wants to fucking work with you anymore. Now again, you could put the clown princes here in the end of this issue. Or I'm for this, I'm using the Enforcers. Now again, Princess Python, we can all work this in. This could all be in the next issue. If we like what we see here. Princess Python, she never really popped up in Spider-Man again. I believe she became a Thor villain. So Princess Python turns around and says, look, I should be the leader of this team. They say, we need somebody clever, crafty, someone who can think on his feet, who people will trust. Someone like the clown. So they all kick the ringmaster out. They beat the shit out of him. They kick him out of the club. So this is the ringmaster's revenge. And they say, look, hot dog, there's the bell. Let's grab a soda. Peter is now, they're doing another rub here. Some of these new biochemical discoveries of Dr. Henry Pym are awfully interesting. I wonder if I should specialize in biochemistry or physics. Peter Parker, put down that book, you silly thing. The bell rang minutes ago. Class is over. Flash is getting pissed that she's making the time with Liz. You trying to beat my time? What are the rumors I heard you were making a play for Johnny Storm's girlfriend? So you see, now again, you could throw Betty Brant in there. But Betty Brant's she didn't really interact with Dory Evans and Gwen Stacy. So again, we have our first strip poker commission. And now you see we're building the seeds for a new one. Princess Python, Dory Evans, and Gwen Stacy. We'll see. We'll see. Peter and Betty, their romance, of course, here together. And then we have an art collection sponsored by J. Jonah Jameson at a Madison Avenue art gallery, where he's kind of showing off. And then the clown crime committers come in using the cannonball's head to open the door. Now, again, these could be a great fill-in. You can have these guys literally robbing an art gallery, and Spider-Man can have his first mission coming in there and fucking shit up. But I like what I'm doing here with the enforcers. So again, this is stuff for future reference, for future notes. Clowns come in and they're robbing all the art. They're distracting all the people. They knock fucking Jameson out unconscious. Parker's got to come in, save the fucking day. He's like, wait a minute. If the ringmaster's not doing nothing, then he realizes, holy shit, they kicked the ringmaster out. They know he's innocent. He's going to follow him anyway because he feels like he's still the leader. And he says, nah, dude, I'm not the leader. These fucking guys kicked me out. He hypnotizes him. He tells him the truth. Spider-Man's like, all right, shit, I gotta go fuck shit up now. Betty's in there at the fucking hospital. Peter swings out. This is only the beginning, but we have to give ourselves a name. We all have names. What do you mean? It means a name for the whole team, you idiot. Like the Avengers. How about the Carnival Champs? So again, it's a lot of throwaway dialogue. They're all just kind of fucking around at the hideout. Spider-Man comes in. He's like, all right, I gotta whip some fucking ass now. Stay, blast you. They try to take him out. They try to sweep the leg. They come underneath. He pins him down here. I love the spear tackle. It's always the best in the draw in a fucking comic book. He's making them knock each other out, but Princess Python says, come on, look, you and me, go in the private room. I'll fucking suck you off. I'm a fucking human python. Best goddamn load you ever blow in your entire fucking life. Spider-Man's fighting. They're all going to jump and beat the shit out of him. He knocks every single one of them unconscious. Princess Python's trying to get away. He smashes the fucking cannonball guy. The clown is trying to sneak away. How dare you come in here watching me change? Come on, Eddie. You know I was changing. Then look at this. She's trying to seduce him. It's kind of badass. If this was a Bond movie, Spider-Man be fucking Princess Python here. She's kind of like, she's selling out the rest of the fucking clowns. He gets his hat back. All this shit's going down. She's trying to take his mask off. He goes, look, you stupid bitch. I'm not going to fucking take my mask off for you. She's offended. Throws him in the room with a giant python. So again, you could do a really cool Slave Leia Python, Princess Python piece. She wasn't really mainstream. I'm not sure how many people would buy the piece. But again, you get enough Princess Python fans, they're going to buy the fucking piece. He's trying to get away with all the art. She runs away. They're all arrested. Jameson's back. Big fucking bandage on his head. Peter gets in the pictures of the heist. Everybody gets in there. Gets the evening edition. Aunt May's pissed off because he's getting yelled at for staying out late. I always found Aunt May to be a little bit fucking annoying. That was their way to try to keep Spider-Man grounded. So you see, we get to the end of issue 22. We see, of course, what's going on in the Marvel Universe. Fantastic Four, all the way up to 36. I got a lot of reading to do. And wait, what was that about the next issue? And I believe, if you look next, they bring the Green Goblin back. But we'll worry about that for tomorrow's class. Tomorrow we'll finish it up. We'll do 23, 24, 25. For the hell of it, we can always get some notes here in the Strange Tales issue of, I think it was 123 they had said. Dude. What's on, baby? Are you happy? I thought I put the AC on. There's a lot of fucking Star Wars. Jesus Christ. Storm. Strange Tales. We'll keep it open just in case we fall into a little bit of a trap and we can't close out the issue, but I feel like we should be all right. I just farted. Who are you to judge me? I just ate a lot of dumplings. 123. Spider-Man versus the Beetle. Doctor Strange meets Loki. We'll get to this in a second. Let's get that dialogue done. All right. Peter looks into a day job at the advice of Uncle Ben. We're going to move this to the next page. We'll move this to page 23. All right. All right, page 22. He just snatched the ox into the ceiling. You're toast. He just treated him like a toaster. As Peter gets to his feet, we see the bright spotlights of Empire City beaming through the hole in the ceiling. Fancy Dan and Montana both leap at Peter from the shadows of the beams, hitting him at the same time with a combo move. SFX of Fancy Dan and Montana landing shots on Peter. Staggering backward, Montana hurls his lasso around Peter's arms. Around Peter's arm. No, wait, staggering backwards. Peter is about. Peter shoots his arm forward and is about to use his web shooter, but he is lassoed. Let me spell fucking lassoed. Lassoed on his arm by Montana. Peter then uses his strength to yank the rope, the lasso, as hard as he can. Peter then uses his strength to yank the lasso. He goes like, yanks the fucking lasso. Like he's about to go shoot at Fancy Dan, but he catches him with the lasso, so he can't shoot. So Peter looks at him, fucking yanks the. Peter then uses his strength to yank the lasso as hard as he can. Peter clotheslines. Peter hits Montana with a lariat style clothesline. As he's pulled him in by his own lasso. Montana goes crashing. Montana flips upside down and goes crashing out the window. SFX of Montana crashing out the window. SFX of the force of the clothesline hitting Montana. SFX of Peter yanking the living lasso. Peter hits Montana with a lariat style clothesline as he's pulled him in by his own lasso. SFX of the force of the clothesline hitting Montana. So like Montana, he's trying to shoot at Fancy Dan. Montana hits him with the lasso. Peter yanks the fucking lasso like fucking Jake the Snake Roberts and just fucking smashes him with a clothesline. Montana flips over like Fatu taking a fucking clothesline. Bang! Right out the fucking window. That takes care of Montana. Montana flips side down, goes crashing out the window. SFX of Montana crashing out the window. Fancy Dan gets into a deadly fighting stance, brandishing a small knife, a small blade, as he faces off with Peter. Fancy Dan. So do we want that line here now? The who are you? Fancy Dan gets into a deadly fighting stance, brandishing a small blade as he faces off with Peter. So what do we got here in terms of lines? So now I got to get the dialogue in here. We got the page laid out. Once we write the dialogue, this fucking thing is done. Homework is class is done for the day. We'll lay out 23 and 24. And there you go. You'll have your homework. All right. So we're laying this page out here. As Peter gets to his feet, we see the bright spotlights of Empire City beaming through the hole in the ceiling. Fancy Dan and Montana both leap at Peter from the shadows of the beams, hitting him at the same time with a combo move. S effects of Fancy Dan and Montana landing shots on Peter. Now, again, you can write, if you feel that you don't need dialogue here, you can write in these narrative boxes. I always bring that up so that you never feel trapped and you never want to force dialogue. I hate forced dialogue. It shows weakness as a writer. If you have to stare at the fucking page till your eyes bleed, you get something good in there. Even if it's just two fucking lines, you know? You want to have fun and you want the reader to have fun. This is about having fun. You start looking at this like a fucking job, it's not fun anymore. Peter gets to his feet. We see the bright spotlights. Again, you could say all this. The bright spotlights of Empire City beam through the hole in the ceiling, shadowing of, you know what I mean? We're not seeing him yet. We're seeing like a shadow beating the shit out of these guys. We got to get our big reveal on page 23 or 24. As Peter gets to his feet, we see the bright spotlights of Empire City beaming through the hole in the ceiling. Fancy Dan and Montana both leap at Peter from the shadows of the beams, hitting him at the same time with a combo move. Peter, tonight I learned my first lesson as a superhero. Tonight I learned my first lesson as a superhero. Powers only get you halfway. Tonight I learned my first lesson as a superhero. Powers only get you halfway. Staggering backwards, Peter shoots his arm forward and is about to use his web shooter, but he is lassoed on his arms by Montana. On his arm is about to use his web shooter on Fancy Dan, but he is lassoed on his arm by Montana. But he's lassoed on his arm. The force, I like this. The force of the lasso snaps Peter's web shooter, rendering it useless. Tonight I learned my first lesson as a superhero. Powers only get you halfway. And weapons are no guarantee. Force of the lasso snaps Peter's web shooter, rendering it useless. And weapons are no guarantee. Peter uses his strength to yank the lasso as hard as he can. SFX of Peter yanking the living lasso. The force of the lasso snaps Peter's web shooter, rendering it useless. Powers only get you halfway, and weapons are no guarantee. You must have what? Of course, the next line will be an improvisation. But I have, and weapons are no guarantee. It's all about, and weapons are no guarantee. Force of the lasso snaps Peter's web shooter, rendering it useless. Okay. SFX of Peter's web shooter breaking. And weapons are no guarantee. All right, so that's all you need there is, and weapons are no guarantee. Peter then uses his strength to yank the lasso as hard as he can. SFX of Peter yanking the living lasso. Right? Yeah. Narration. Peter then uses his strength to yank the lasso as hard as he can. Tonight I learned my first lesson as a superhero. Or should he say costumed Avenger? Tonight I learned my first lesson as a costumed rogue. Tonight I learned my first lesson as a costumed rogue. Powers only get you halfway, and weapons are no guarantee. All right, I like that. Peter then uses his strength to yank the lasso as hard as he can. So one must use improvisation. Improvisation. So one must use improvisation. And a love of professional wrestling. Love of professional wrestling. Jake the Snake tribute. I mean, you could turn around and say Jake the Snake would be proud. So one must use improvisation and a love of professional wrestling. Put it here, right here. Boom. The love of professional wrestling. You don't need to say Jake the Snake would be proud. That's tacky. Montana flips upside down and goes crashing out the window. SFX of Montana crashing out the window. Fancy Dan gets into a deadly fighting stance, brandishing a small blade as he faces off with Peter. Montana flips upside down and goes crashing out the window. SFX of Montana crashing out the window. I mean, Peter could throw in fucking a wise ass line here. Crashing out the window and screaming. Sorry to see you go. Like Peter fucking yanks the rope, cracks him, yanks the lasso, cracks him with a clothesline. He goes flipping and falling out the window. So what do you say to a guy you just fucking sent out the goddamn window? Sorry to see you go. Hmm. Sorry to see you go. Give a man a rope, wants to be a cowboy. Hmm. And the love of professional wrestling. Sorry to see you go. Hmm. Happy trails, asshole. That's what I want to say. I just want to say happy trails, fuckface. Happy trails, cowboy. I mean, fuck it, right there. Happy trails, cowboy. Fancy Dan gets into a fight, gets into a deadly fighting stance, brandishing a small blade as he faces off with Peter. Okay, boy. You're stepping in a pile. Okay, boy, you're stepping in a pile. So I'm gonna have to run you through. Okay, boy, you're stepping in a pile. So I'm gonna have to run you through. And that's it for this page, but let's see if we can throw in something else before we go. Take a quick look at this here, Strange Tales, because all we really have here are one-liners, but this is all action. This is all an action page, and again, we could throw our narrative boxes here, hit some with a lariat-style clothesline. We could throw in the wording here, so we have the narrative boxes, which is why we write out the narrative boxes for the benefit of our artist and ourselves, should we want to put the narration in there. You know, Montana flips out, sun goes crashing out the window. Happy trails, cowboy. Move this here. So we got room. Fancy Dan gets to a deadly fighting stance, brandishing a small blade as he faces off with Peter. Okay, boy, you're stepping in a pile, so I'm gonna have to run you through. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done. But before we go, let's just take a quick rip through Birth of the Beatles. We get the Beatles' origin here. We got the Thing, we got Human Torch here. This guy's looking around, he's not happy. The art's a little crude. This guy's making some fucking shit in his lab. Bid farewell to ordinary colorless Abner Jenkins. Today, a new adventurer is born. Years from now, school children will be taught to remember this date, for it marks the birth of the supremely battleful beetle. All right, so let's blow through this real quick, just to get a good look through the old history, see if we catch anything that we could use in our pages before we all crawl it out. Attention, Torch and Thing. Leader 1 calling. Strange figure reported flying over the city. Investigate possibility of hoax. That is all. So they're ripping around in the Fantastic Car. They all break up. Thing and Torch going, oh, they got their chicks out with them. Wet nurse, buddy, I hope your insurance is all paid up when I get through with you. Johnny Stone, I'm ashamed of you. And you too, Ben. If you don't ignore those troublemakers, Alicia and I are leaving right now. They were on a double date. So I'm assuming Dory Evans. Oh, yes, Dory Evans and Alicia Masters. A little Fantastic Four strip poker action. The Beatles going to try and fuck some shit up. We're going to go through this real quick. Anything we could use here? And we were basically writing a fight scene, so we just want to write some good fighting stuff. that page that we just did is pretty much just about Spider-Man fighting Ox, getting a good shot on him, getting some good carnage in the artwork, and then Spider-Man fighting Montana, hitting him with a Jake the Snake style clothesline, cracking him with the fucking lasso. And now we will finish out our chapter one with Spider-Man fucking up Fancy Dan. And of course, we will end it with that classic line, "Who are you?" The issue has to end with him grabbing Fancy Dan by the throat, holding him over the fucking city and saying, "I'm Spider-Man." The Yancey Street Gang. All right, let's get through this. Our OCD cannot let us end at a comic book in the middle. Hey, it's Jack Nicholson. So again, the Beetle goes on a little bit of a crime spree, fucking with the World's Fair, stealing some money. Torch and Thing got to team up to beat the shit out of him. You know how it all is. In the end, money gets spread out everywhere. The bad guy doesn't get away. They throw some fucking flame rings at him. What can he do but fail and be locked up? I'm the baddest in the world. And then we have the challenge of Loki. So let's just go through this real quick, old school, real quick. Let's enjoy some stuff. Oh, it's Doctor Strange, Odin, a little Thor reference. So they're giving Thor the rub here. So again, we remember meeting Doctor Strange and Loki in the Marvel Universe in the MCU. They were making Loki falling for like 30 minutes. Loki, of course, hates Thor, so he's using Doctor Strange to get in the middle. I just love to enjoy the old Steve Ditko art. He really was a cool hippie. You could tell he smoked a shitload of pot. And he really had a good time just drawing all these astral planes and the kooky backgrounds and the really cool hippy dippy shit. And sometimes it's just fun to, even an immortal cannot escape the lure of the purple dimension. Surrender, Loki. Remain trapped forever. So again, it's just having some fun. I look like Doctor Strange a little bit now because I got streaks in my hair. All right, kids, that is today's class. I hope you had a good time. We did our 2 pages, and always remember, brought to you by the new Faro's Lounge Kickstarter. Buy a book, learn some shit. We've got 1 class left, maybe 2 if we do the budget and all that shit in another class, but we might not do that if we get done fast enough. But until then, peace, love, war.